So now I'm going to be doing my graded wash dual color. I'm going to use the same color that I used to create my graded wash single color, so I'm going to use red. I'm going to use the red in here, and I'm going to basically do this again in this area. But what's going to be different is that I'm actually going to be adding another color up here to make it darker. So let's get going. So just like I did with this, with the graded wash single color, I start off with a wet into wet. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to actually wet the white paper, the blank paper, making sure once again that it gets nice and shiny. That tells me that the whole thing is nice and wet. I believe it's hard to see that in the video, okay, but that's fine. You get the idea, right? Okay, so once I've got that in there, I'm going to actually grab some of my red just like I did before, okay, and I'm going to start with one singular layer of the red just like I did before right at the top. You'll notice that the paint actually starts to pull down, which is fine. That's what I wanted to do. I'm going to pull it down. Now, instead of just adding more red to make it darker like I did with the graded wash single color, I'm actually going to add another color. Now, I could use an analogous color or I could use a complement. I'm going to choose to use the complement, so I'm going to grab some of the phthalo green. I'm going to load up the brush, and I'm going to come right up on top of it, right in here, right on top. And you notice that it gets really, really green right away. Okay, and that's okay. Okay, remember, I'm going to be trying to make the red darker. I'm not necessarily trying to change the color. I'm trying to change the value and the intensity of the red by using another color. So now I clean off my brush in the water container. I come back in and I load up my brush with the red because remember, I want this to be a red graded wash. So I come in here with a lot more red. I come right along the top. I'm pulling my lines down just like I did before, and you'll notice that it's red again, a little bit more of like a maroon, okay, or like a crimson red. I'm pulling it down and I create a nice graded wash, going from dark to light. Single color here, okay, so single color here, dual color here, and I used complements for this, okay. I'm actually going to use a little bit more red because I wanted to go just a little bit more red in here. So I'm going to come in here, trying to make sure I don't block your view of what it is that I'm doing in this video. Overlapping my brush strokes. See that? While it's still wet. I'm not necessarily trying to wet this even more. I'm just making sure that I blend everything in as much as possible. I'm going to use a little bit more water on my brush to clean it off, and then I'm going to rinse it. So my brush is going to get just a little bit drier, just so that way I could actually come on over here again. And I'm not necessarily lifting, I'm just actually going to pull the color down, just so I could get a little bit of a smoother blend. Notice where I'm holding the brush towards the back, so that way I don't actually rub the paper too much and destroy it. And there you go.